Hi guys, it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. This is episode number 2 of my book recommendation series. If you guys haven't watched the first one, I'll link it down below. I posted that at the end of August because I did like a what I read in August and you guys seemed to really like it. I've been getting questions on when I was going to post my next book video, and a lot of you guys wondered why I didn't post like what I read in September. But for this episode, I've decided to combine all the books I read in September and then October. In total, I read 18 books. So yeah, I'm going to tell you guys about the books, give little summaries, and then also my ratings and how I felt about them. I'm going to try to keep it kind of short because I don't want to talk for too long, but I read a lot of good books over the past 2 months. I'm super excited to recommend them to you guys. Disclaimer, some of these books are spicy and they have some spicy scenes. So I would say ask your parent before you purchase and buy any books just to make sure that you can read them. But without further ado, I'm super excited to be talking about books again, and let's get this started. Alright, I'm not going to go like perfectly in order of when I read the books, but if you would like to see exactly when I start and finish books and like my progress and everything, you can follow my Goodreads account. It's at Nicole Laeno. It will also be linked down below. But anyways, the first 2 books I'm going to talk about are, oh my goodness, the Off-Campus and Briar U series from Elle Kennedy. First, we have the Off-Campus series, and the first book in this one is The Deal. This is Garrett and Hannah's book, and I think I'll explain this one, not so much the other ones because you should start with this one. But basically, all these books are hockey romances. In the Off-Campus series, it's about these 4 guys that live in the same house, they're on the same hockey team, and they go to Briar University. This book is about Garrett and Hannah. They're in the same class. I forget which class it is, but they had this really hard exam, and most of the class failed, including Garrett, but Hannah got 100%. She aced the test. So then when Garrett saw her test, he was like, oh my gosh, I need you to tutor me because his GPA is dropping, and if he doesn't have high grades, then he can't play in the hockey games. And Garrett's like the hotshot guy. Like everyone loves him. All the girls want to be with him. So then when he asks Hannah to tutor him, he like expects her to say yes, obviously, because no one says no to Garrett. But then she says no, and he's like, whoa, what the heck? So then the first few chapters are kind of just like him trying to get her to tutor him, and then eventually they like develop this relationship and stuff. Oh my gosh, you guys, I literally love all the characters in this series. In the Off-Campus, there are 5 books, and then the Briar U has 4, but like each character that Elle Kennedy writes, I just fall in love with, especially the boys. Like they're so sweet and so nice to their girls, and these do have some spicy scenes in them. It's really cool because each book is different. Like even though it's based around the same thing, like a hockey guy and then some girl they meet on campus, they all have different tropes, different themes, and a lot of them touch like serious stuff that I feel like teenagers relate to. So I would definitely check this out if I were you. My favorite boy in the Off-Campus series is Garrett, which is this book. And then my favorite book in the Briar U series is Jake Connolly from The Risk, this one. This is Jake and Brenna's book. So good. But like I said, I don't want to talk about them too much because I feel like you should read The Deal and then continue on with the series. But I love this series. That whole top shelf is just for these books. And then last thing, most of the books I gave a 5 out of 5. There were like a few in the Briar U series I think I gave like a 4. But overall, the whole series is a 5. It's getting so dark because it was recently daylight savings, so now the sun goes down an hour early and I don't like it. But the next books I'm going to be talking about are the ones I read from Coho. If you guys didn't know, Colleen Hoover, she's one of my favorite authors. After I read It Ends With Us, I just fell in love with every book she wrote. Like I've literally given them all 5 out of 5 stars. But I read 3 of her books these past 2 months, starting with Heartbones. This was the first book I read in September and it was really good. It takes place in summer and I cannot wait to read it next summer. Like I think it's a really fun book to read during the summertime. But it's about this girl named Bea and this guy named Samson. Basically, Bea comes from a very poor life. Like her parents split up and she lives with her mom in like a trailer park, but an accident happens with her mom and she's forced to live with her dad, who married into this like rich family. Like he's all wealthy now and has a beach house. So Bea goes to live with them, and then their neighbor is Samson. So then Bea and Samson meet each other and they start to like become friends. They don't want to do anything too serious because Bea is going to college like after the summer ends, so they decide to have like a summer fling. Then obviously they get closer and they realize they want to spend more time with each other. But then, since it's a Coho book, plot twist happens at the end. I was not expecting it at all. Like when it happened, I was like, what? Yeah, but it was a really cute book. It's definitely not as heavy as some of her other ones, but again, I would definitely read this during the summertime. Next, I read Confess by her. Oh my goodness. Love this one of hers. This is probably in my top 3 from hers. Like it goes, It Ends With Us, probably this one, and maybe like Ugly Love or November 9. I don't know, I literally can't choose from hers. But anyways, this is about Auburn Reed and then this guy Owen Gentry. Auburn's first love passed away when she was a teenager, so basically just everything important she's lost. But then we see her a few years later, she's trying to like rebuild her life, and she runs into this guy, Owen. He has this art gallery where he takes people's confessions and paints about them, which is so cool. And they even added like some of the paintings Like, look how sick that is. But she takes a job from him one night because he just needs like a host for his art gallery. But throughout the book, they're kind of just trying to get to know each other more, you know, confess their like deepest secrets. We learn a lot about Auburn and like why her life is so shattered and messed up. But the ending of this book, oh my freaking gosh, I loved it so much. Like I was screaming reading it. The last chapter like explains an important part of the story and it just like almost made me cry. So I was tearing up while reading the ending. But 5 out of 5 for Confess. Love this one. Yeah. And then the last book I read from Coho was Verity. She's mainly a romance author, but she has 2 thrillers, including this one. This is insane, you guys. This book is insane. Like, I don't know how Coho is so creative, but every book she writes, I'm like, wow. Like, how does she think of these things? But this book follows a girl named Loan. She's a struggling author, but all of a sudden she gets this opportunity to finish a series for a different author, Verity. This famous author, Verity, she had an accident, so she's not able to finish her series that she was working on. So then Loan is hired and she's invited to the house that Verity lives in to kind of like uncover all the material and finish out the series. We also meet Verity's husband. His name's Jeremy, and then also their kid. I kind of forgot his name, but Jeremy and Verity have a kid. So we read about Loan going through Verity's research paper and like all of the info about her series, but then she finds something, which you guys will find out if you read this. We figure out what's going on with Verity and it's freaking crazy. Like I don't even know how else to explain it, but it's just insane. And the worst part is, not like the worst part, but at the end, it's not a definite ending. There's like 2 sides of it. And if you read it, you know what I'm talking about. But get this book, 5 out of 5 from me. I turned on the light in my room because it's getting dark outside, but the last 5 books I'm going to talk about are standalones, starting with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is a very popular book and you've probably heard of it, especially if you're on Book Talk, but it's been hyped about and I understand why. I give it a 5. It was a really fun and entertaining read. It follows this girl named Monique Grant and she's a magazine reporter, an unknown one though, like she's not a popular one. But then all of a sudden this opportunity arises for her where a famous celebrity, Evelyn Hugo, asks Monique personally to come and write her biography. And Monique is like, what the heck? Like, why is she asking me? Out of everyone in the world, she asked Monique, and they don't even know each other in life. But Evelyn Hugo, I think she's like around the age of 70 now, but she's had this glamorous life of being an actress in Hollywood, and she wants Monique to write her biography. I really love how this book was written. It'll switch between scenes where Monique is interviewing her, and then there are chapters where Evelyn is talking, and you like know what's happening. But it's split into 7 different sections for all the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The ending, oh my gosh. Plot freaking twist, bro. Like, I did not expect it at all, but it was really good, and like I said, it was really entertaining. Next is Punk 57, and if you've heard of this, you know that it's super spicy, but that's all I'm gonna say about that. This is about Ryan and Misha, and basically in 5th grade, their teacher set them up with a pen pal that goes to a different school. Originally, I think it was supposed to be a girl set up with a girl and then a guy with a guy, but then their teachers like mixed up their names, and so now it's Misha and Ryan, a boy and a girl. But after they were set up as pen pals, they just kept on writing to each other for years. So now this book takes place when they're like 18 years old, seniors in high school, and they've been writing letters ever since 5th grade. So they've built this connection and basically fell in love with each other, but have never seen each other in real life. But then one day Misha runs into Ryan, and then he like connects the dots and figures it out that it's her, but then Ryan has no idea that it's Misha, and then he like transfers to her school and just realizes he hates her. Like, she is not the person she is on the letter. She's totally different, and Misha like hates her. So then stuff happens. There's just like a lot of tension. I originally rated it a 5 after I finished it because like it was really good, but I think I would give it like a 4 because if you're not into that stuff like Wattpad energy, it gets pretty intense. Next book is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I think I gave this like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is not very high, I know, but like it was kind of slow to me. Like, it didn't hook me in from the start, and I couldn't read it for long amounts of time. Like, I read it in sections, so I think that just made me have a lower rating for it, but it was still a pretty good book. It follows this girl named Violet and a guy named Finch. His name's Theodore Finch, but they call him Finch. They're both at really bad places in their life. Like, both of them are kind of sad and they feel alone, but then they're partnered up for a school project, which makes them go on adventures throughout their town. I think it's so cute, like wandering around with each other and exploring their state, but they build this connection with each other. A lot of people have cried to this book. I won't tell you why, obviously. Personally, I didn't, but I know why people would cry. I think I would have if I like stayed connected to it, but again, I just like wasn't there. I think this book has some really good messages and like the moral of the story is really nice, but it just wasn't my favorite read. Next is The Spanish Love Deception by Alina Armas. Mwah. Chef's Kiss. I love this book so much. It was such a good read, and it was probably my favorite book out of this whole video. But before I tell you guys the summary of it, let me just tell you the certain tropes in this book, because there are so many good ones. We have enemies to lovers, a workplace romance, grumpy sunshine where the guy's grumpy and the girl is like this bubbly person. There's also kind of like I hate everyone else in the world but you, and then also a travel romance because they travel all the way to Spain in this book. But anyways, this book is about Catalina Martin and Aaron Blackford, who is my book boyfriend, by the way. After reading this book, you will fall in love with Aaron. He is boyfriend material. But they work in the same place, and everyone knows that Aaron's a jerk. He comes off as rude, he's very closed off to everyone, which is the opposite of Catalina. Like I said, she has a bubbly personality, she's always happy and stuff, but she has a dilemma. She told her family that lives in Spain that she has a boyfriend and that she's bringing him to her sister's wedding, which is not true because she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's totally single, and the wedding is coming up, so she needs a guy to stand in as her boyfriend. So then eventually Aaron goes to Spain with her. He attends the wedding and stuff starts to unravel. I think you get the gist from Enemies to Lovers, but I just fell in love with this book. It was so much fun to read. It was a slow burn, so if you're not really into that, like they didn't kiss until like 200 pages, like over 200 pages in, but I loved it with all my heart, and I definitely want to reread it soon. I don't know, everything about it I feel like I just loved. So yeah, Spanish Love Deception, 5 out of 5. And the last book I read was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book is so popular. There has been so much hype around it, and I totally get it. I rated this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think I would have given it a 5, but I read it right after The Spanish Love Deception, and that book just made my heart burst. But this one was still a really fun read. It has a similar trope, the grumpy guy and sunshine girl. Oh, and then fake dating, like that's the huge trope in both of those books. But this one deals with women in STEM, which I think is so empowering, and it's an academia romance. But basically it follows this girl, Olive Smith, and she's trying to convince her best friend Anne that she's over this one guy. Anne really likes him, so Olive is trying to convince her that it's okay to go for him, like she doesn't want anything to do with him. So in order to do that, she kisses the first guy she sees, which happens to be Adam Carlson. He's the young hotshot professor and a well-known jerk. Like everyone in that department knows that he's just very blunt and like honest with his words. But after that one kiss happens, he agrees to fake date Olive so that she can convince Anne that it's okay for her to date that one guy, and then also for like other reasons in the science department. Oh, I also forgot to mention that Olive is a grad student, but she's not one of Adam's students, so it's not like forbidden or anything. But throughout the book you learn more about Adam and like how he's not actually a jerk, and I just thought it was super cute and I really enjoyed it. But those are all of the books that I read. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2 of this book series. Again, to keep up with all of the books that I read, you can follow my Goodreads account. And then also I have a very special announcement coming up very soon that is about books, so stay tuned for that. But let's have a little chat down below if you've read any of these books and like what you thought about them, and then also if you have any book recs of your own. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like or comment down below, subscribe to my channel, turn on my post notifications, and go cop some Colleen merch. I will see y'all back with another video. I love you guys so much. Stay positive. Bye!